Okay, so the slides are visible on your screens. Yes, thank you. So, thank you, sir. So today is the last as well as the fifth day of my presentation on this third season of my career. So my topic for today's presentation is reading contemporary Indian culture through the lens of cultural studies. Okay, so we are having. So first, I have prepared some introductory part. So cultural studies, what is that basically? So it is an interdisciplinary field concerned with the role of social institutions in the shaping of culture. So but it is related to the culture. So many things are there, and let us come down to the second point. Like cultural studies was emerged in Britain in the late. So before coming in this Birmingham University, so it was emerged in Britain before, say in 1950s, and it subsequently spread internationally, notably of the United States and Australia and Birmingham University, this Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies is also there. So there are three or four seminal scholars who established this center. The very first scholar is Richard Hogarth. The second one is Stuart Hall, and third one is Raymond Williams. And there are many aspects that the cultural study influence into. Like the very first one is sociology, anthropology also, historiography, literary criticism, philosophy and art criticism, and that is why it is called multidisciplinary aspect. So it is not only concerned with one aspect or one part of the society or a culture, but it encompasses whole within that. And I would like to assert one quotation here. So, in his Familiar Stranger, A Life Between Two Islands, so there is a book, The Familiar Stranger, A Life Between Two Islands by Stuart Hall. He says, from this I can too understand uh, that identity is not a set of fixed attribute. So culture is there, and in the base of culture there is the identity, and identity is occupied by people. And from this I came to understand that identity is not a set of fixed attribute, the unchanging essence of the inner self, but a constantly shifting process of positioning. We tend to think of identity as taking us back to our roots. So generally what happens when the colonials are there, and when you send them back to their country, then you think, okay, we have to get back to our roots. But no, well, it is not so. You have to, but with the certain necessity of critical insight within you. So not just the blind following should be there. The part of us which remains essentially the same across time. Yes, it does. So in fact, identity is always a never completed process of becoming, a process of shifting identifications rather than a singular, complete, finished state of being. So it is not static being. It is always kind of this liquid. It remains in a liquid state. So identities are there. The cultures are also in a liquid form. Like they will not remain stagnant all over the time or through the ages. So we have ample examples of these ages that we are studying right now in this curriculum. So I have put some four goals, and according to that, we will see the present day India's this condition of India, and the very first thing is that cultural study, or the first goal, the cultural studies transcends the confines of a particular discipline such as literary criticism or history. So before this discipline came, what used to be there, like if there is a humanities class, then they will not talk about economic, they will not talk about anything that is related to the other than this humanity class. But now by the advent of this cultural studies, they will discuss all the things all together in the one class. And second goal is this cultural study is politically engaged, so it is not detached from the politics. So whatever politics is going, this politically things are going, it is engaged with that. And third goal, the cultural studies denies the separation of high and low. So as Derrida also strikes on the binary or these binary oppositions by calling it a hierarchy miniature within the culture, and high and low, or elite and popular culture. We are having this high and low binary, that the superior inferior complex is there, master slave relations are there, as I was referring to yesterday in the research. And this culture, this elite and popular culture, so the elite culture will think we are elite, and there is the popular culture which is inferior to us in certain manner, but then it denies this cultural studies, it denies that. And the fourth goal is that cultural studies analyzes not only the cultural work but also the means of production. So whatever is proposed before a cultural critic, then he will not or she will not just analyze that work, but he or she will also find the way or the origin of that work, from where it is being produced. That way it happens. And there is a book, The Handbook of Critical Approaches to Literature. Uh, so I have taken some quotations from that book. So in relation to these four goals, the discipline of psychology. Now, see this multidisciplinary aspect of cultural studies, that the discipline of psychology has also entered the field of cultural studies. For example, Jacques Lacan Psychoanalytic theory of the unconscious structure as a language promoted emphasis upon language and power as symbolic systems. From Michel Foucault came the notion that power is a whole complex of forces. It is that which produces what happens. So the power play idea is also coming, and this as the psychoanalysis is also coming by the Jacques Lacan. Sigmund Freud's theory is also there. So many of these disciplines are merged together, are mingled together in the same bowl, and that is what becomes the cultural studies main aspect will be there. And the second quotation is like a tyrannical aristocrat. Now it is very, it is with reference with this power play aspect of this the idea propounded by Sir Michel Foucault. So a tyrannical aristocrat does not just independently wield power, but is empowered by discourses. So it is coming. Yes. Uh, Accepted ways of thinking, writing, and speaking, and practices that embody, exercise, and amount to power. So, how is it possible that a few handful amount of people they are controlling the whole large of nation? So, why it happens? Because this tyrannical aristocrat or whoever these colonizers are does not just independently wield the power. It is not only on their part that they have to, or they are adapt to will the power or to control the people in general sense we can say, but is empowered by. So they are also empowered by whom? By discourses, by the discourses for them and around them what is meant. So somebody you will just this deify or make the hero of them, then the people, rest of the people, those who are laymen especially, they will think, okay, this person is hero and I have to worship them. In in Judeo-Christian idea, we have this great beings of the chain of great beings. This and all the things like it is like this, and accepted ways of thinking. So the majority of people will accept. Okay, I have to think in that way only. Whenever I refute the fact, then I will be killed or I will be sent into the prison as well. So, and that is why they are feeding on this our fallacies, so the collective fallacies, not an individual. Though it is an individual, but when it functions in the whole society, it becomes the collective ones, and that is what feeds this tyrannical aristocrat is referred to here. Writing. So writing is also the discourses and how the things are going on. What are the talks made about this person who is ruling, and writing. So whatever is written upon them, those who are ruling, and speaking and practices that embody, exercise, and amount to power. So whatever is related to power will be turned out to be the ruling force for them. So from punishment to sexual morals, Foucault's genealogy of topics includes many things excluded by traditional historians. So the traditional historians, so we are having in this new historicism. So new historicism, what basically it does, that it revolves that whatever text is proposed. So it will the first, let me clarify that traditional historians will only see what is the source, what is the single source that upon which this text is proposed. But what happens in the new historicism, the new historicist critic will see, okay, what is the discourse, what are the discourses written around this text. So there will be negative things, there will be positive things as well. So it will not eulogize, but it will criticize instead. So and this from architectural blueprints for prisons to memories of deviance. So this very term is very good. The deviance, it is the social, it is concerned with the this sociology thing, or the field with sociology, the deviance, that those who don't follow the basic structure. So we are having this four structure as in Victorian, as we also discussed this four structure. The religion first, it starts with the home, then it goes to the society, then and this it goes to the this religion, and the fourth one is politics. So one has to refute when one think the things are being wrong here. So they are being referred to by this four this right or right-handed this right-wing people, like they are deviants. Okay, because they defy the things, the proposed structure. That is what is not liked by these things. And let us move to the next slide. Okay, so Indian cultural scenario with respect to cultural studies. So how the Indian culture is going on in nowadays, because it is unpredictable thing. See, because present thing is what it is unpredictable. We cannot predict in which how, but we can say in this trajectory it may go there, it will go. We cannot say, but it may or it might go in that way. So the multidisciplinary education system, but we all know that is the new national education policy 2020, though it is a draft yet. Perhaps the Kerala is the first state which has implemented this in its state, perhaps, and you have to cross-check for that. So the National Education Policy India 2020, and it is propounded by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. Okay. Uh, now let us go. The multidisciplinary subjects proposed include languages, literature, music, philosophy, art, dance, theater, education, maths, statistics, pure and applied. So right now, generally we are right now having the three streams. The first one is this science, or the second one is commerce, and the third one is arts. But right now they all are mingling together, and we people are allowed to have multiple degrees at a time. So the time management should be there. Like you cannot have the 2 degrees or 2 classes of these two disciplines like at the same time. You should divide between them, and it is compulsory also there in this policy. Okay, so the second thing that so these two things, the green one and this pink one, I have taken from the very text, that is the new educational policy, the national education policy. So what does it has to say regarding this multidisciplinary aspect that is there in the first goal of our cultural studies? So multidisciplinary and holistic education across the sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports for a multidisciplinary world in order to ensure the unity and integrity of all knowledge. So it ensures the unity and integrity of all knowledge. So it is taken from the National Education Policy 2020. And so in this point, the 11.7 point. So departments in languages, literature. So the humanities are being outlined here. The languages, departments in languages, literature, music, philosophy, Indology, art, dance, theater, education, mathematics, statistics, pure and applied sciences, sociology, economics, sports. So all these disciplines, translation and interpretation. So they are here. The credits will be given in all bachelor's degree programs for these subjects if they are done from such departments or the ODL mode when they are not offered in class at the HEI. So 11. So it is towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education, second part, and higher education of this chapter. So the national education policy works like that. And here I put one image that you will find a person's brain is there. So many things are coming around. So what are they? So one thing you will find here, starting from this here, this phoenix also there, and then this videography and the film studies are also there. In this, this Vitruvian man is also very interestingly put in this. So this structure and archaeology things are also concerned along with the art. In this globalization things and capitalism and all the things are there. So how economics works. So the books and literature is also, so many things are there put in the one thing. So that is why it is called a multidisciplinary education system, and India is putting its step forward in this ideology. So it is the good thing to be seen there, and so there are many loopholes. We will discuss it later on, not here, then somewhere else. Okay. uh, Now I have taken some contemporary Indian political dynamics, because we know the second goal is that it is attached with the political, or it is not. It is engaged with the politic of the nation, or this any culture. So cultural studies. So why? So now increasing political polarization. So I have taken some things that how politics right now is happening in India. So I have taken some point of views by some journalists, and here is that. And so Verma. Political polarization and trust deficit have created a strain on institutions and democratic culture. And since the polarization are there, there are two parties fighting each other. Just they may be telling that we want to serve people, but there may be the things that they want to be in the power. So that is why this political polarization is there in the trust deficit. So unless we collectively join hands to minimize these tensions in society, the fractures are going to engulf everyone involved. So, well, you just see another thing. This to begin this, now is the time to stop the hyperbole, just to make pomp and show of the things that this and this will happen. But what is there behind this fraud? So, what is there beneath this carpet? We have to look at that. Okay, because see, in these things happen like generally what happens that many people are there, they will tell, because we are not having tree in the barren land, just paint the land green so that we can see the green for the time being only. So it is the temporary solution. But when you go to a realist person and cultural critic, then they will just strike to the problem, and they will identify that problem, and then they will give you the saber to cut the very root of that problem that is causing it. So it is the cultural critic thing that to be seen here. It is not just a kind of temporary putting temporary solution on that. And to begin this, now is the time to stop the hyperbole, just to make the pomp and show, and make a realistic assessment of our present and imagine a vision for India's future. So particularly India is being targeted here in that way also, in journalist way. So make a realistic assessment. So we have to be real. Okay, there is no denial of enjoying, but there is you have to sleep. That Robert Frost says that miles to go before I sleep. So you have to sleep, okay, in order to having a body, or you have to enjoy. There is no denial of it, but before you have to go this miles to go. You have to do many work before. It will not just do the pomp and show and the things. These processions are made on the road. by so and so things. And patchwork of ideas are also there, because one governing body is not only for functioning within the one idea, but there are patchworks ideas and all the things are there. Like, so many Indians, I have taken some this quotation. Third one is from Reserve Bank of India, former Reserve Bank of India Governor Raghuram Rajan. So Raghuram Rajan, he was the former governor, and what does he say? Like, many Indians, including much of the large youth population, because India is claimed to be the most congregated place with the youth population, remained locked into informal and poorly paid occupations. Okay, so the economic part is also coming by this person. India can't work from the center. India works when you have many people taking up the burden. And today, the central government is excessively centralized. So the things, because this very centralized, and today the central government is excessively centralized. So there should be bifurcation, there should be the oppositions also, but now the oppositions are becoming less and the supporters are growing in a kind of teaming of the place, like you can say. uh, and some explicit reference are also being given by this have also been given by this Pilla Murray, journalist. So let us cut to the chase. Okay. So now casteism is also there. Tell everyone we scalp you. So I have taken these lines from this one news channel. Tell everyone news website. So tell everyone we scalped you. Sardar Singh Jatav recalled a group of upper caste men as having, so the casteism. Why this critic, the cultural critic, were constantly being striking on this casteism, because it is the problem. Because it is like talking about the elephant in the room. So there is the famous phrase, talking about the elephant in the room. So you have to discuss what is there. You cannot put it under the carpet. That is why this casteism and all these things, this corruption is also being targeted by. And so you find the things like the cases are there. So the incident from September 2018 was just one among 4 lakh 15,821 cases of violence against Dalits that took place between 2011. So still this democracy, still this democratic value, that is the freedom, is still being questioned here, because we are having this up media, up this news channel, those who kind of can just propose this news in front of us. And in 2020, according to the data from the National Crime Records Bureau, so it is the governing agency, it is this National Crime Records Bureau body. And in a constitutional assembly debate, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar has also done some good work on that. So in constitutional assembly, when our constitution was being framed at the time, so before 1949, when it was completed, so Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had once remarked that though he has been called the maker of the Indian Constitution, we all know that he generally is referred to as the maker of, or the proprietor of this Indian Constitution. Then what he would do, that he would be the first one to burn it. And why would he do so? He said the constitution was doomed to fail if rulers were driven by majoritarian prejudices. So majoritarian prejudices, that we are not listening to the expert's voice. We want majority, where, because the democracy means what? Where the people leads the government, where the people leads the nation. But well, it is not so the case. You can easily fool the people, especially if they are uneducated, if they are laymen. So the voice of expert is needed here, and that is why Baba Sahib is making such remarks there. And until so this. He said the constitution was doomed to fail if rulers were driven by majoritarian prejudices, and until society and political representatives were to fundamentally change. So the fundamental change, the radical change is needed in the aspect, in the dynamics of politics, in the society, and all these rest structures are there. So constitutional ideals could not be implemented. So till then, nothing will happen. No change will be seen. So only the problem will be there. Many people will come and identify the problem. They will even propose the solution, but no steps will be taken by those who are there in the power. So the radical change, the fundamental change is needed. Uh, so here, perhaps the majority of the images are hyperlinked, so you will get to know the story behind them. And so here it is the interesting, the left hand downside corner, that these unnecessary discourses of the political discourses are there. So you will click on that and you will get redirected to that side also. So let's move ahead. Here I have presented some data on registered crimes, atrocities against Dalits in India. Okay, and the source of the data is NCRB, the National Crime Records Bureau. So you will see it's from 2011 to it is it is going upward, and right now it is also that after 2020 it is rising. So you just imagine the situation. Where are we standing? As though we want to call, we are living in the 21st century. How can we call that? collectively speaking. There are many few people like they will not do such things. And here is that another this map is also put here. So let us read total incident states duties. So total incidents, the mild ratio is going. So Gujarat is still exempted, but though it may be going in that direction, but here you will find this the northern states like this Punjab is there, or rather Rajasthan is there, and Uttar Pradesh is very having high ratio of this caste discrimination, and based on that the violence that was done to the Dalit people or those who were oppressed or the indentured people there. And let us move ahead. Uh, this Here one thing we have to now this economic part is coming that because we are concerning this thing. Let me show you here. So the studies, the third one, the casteism or the racism we saw, it was regarding this third goal. That was cultural studies denies the separation of high and low or elite and popular culture. So the elite and popular culture were not taken in the reference, but this high and low were maintained there. And coming down to the fourth, we can say this cultural studies analyzes not only the cultural work, but also the means of production. So means of productions are also taken. So let us refer to the economy, how what happens there. So in the second, when in 1899, so before 200 years ago or more than that, let us see how this universality of happening. That Thorstein Veblen, he was an economist, an economic sociologist, propounded a theory, an idea of conspicuous consumption. So why, how this idea is still related to the date here, we will have to see that in context to understanding the behavior of the leisure class, the elite, their preferences. So how do they behave? What are their preferences, and what should be there within them? It was targeted before more than 200 years ago by this economic sociologist, that is Thorstein Veblen, and in his idea that concept is conspicuous consumption. Veblen argued that wealthy individuals often consume highly conspicuous goods and services in order to advertise their wealth, thereby achieving greater social status. So, but still, general the idea is there when this social status, when it is concerned, that you want to like make a show out of your social, even if you are not having something. The poor people are also targeted. That we will come down to the later on, and this people want to look like rich, whether they are rich. In fact, it is not at all the concern, but they want to look like rich in any manner. They want to behave like rich. They want to follow what rich does. That is why it's happening, and that is the idea that is striking at that time, and right now it is also happening in India, being particular. So, in order to gain and to hold the esteem of women, so right now the marriage institution is also concerned. In order to gain and to hold the esteem of women, wealth must be put in evidence. Because generally, personally speaking, I have observed that so many marriage these people are this matchmaker will come and they will ask you that how much land you are having. Only on that basis the we can plan a marriage for you. So that is why this in order to gain and to hold the esteem of a woman, wealth must be put in evidence. For esteem is awarded only on evidence. So whatever you are having is in manner of this material wealth, only then and then how much esteem should be given to you will be decided, or how much we care for you is decided. So that is the very capitalist idea. It was there before also. And one another thing we can be also studied here is that, like, in other mythical texts of this India, that Rama and Mahabharata, so there are innumerable references that the people will not, especially the kings, will not allow their the daughters to marry in any poor person. But he or the person, he should be the king, or at least he should be having some territory to hold upon. And then, so this capitalism was also there in that. So we can get to know about this reading between the lines, or intertextual reading of that mythical text like Ramayana and Mahabharata is there. And this accredited canons of conspicuous consumption, the effect of which is to hold the consumer up to a standard of expensiveness and wastefulness in his consumption of goods and his employment of time and effort. So let us put it. Now, coming down to the fifth one, Veblen's work distinguished between two motives for consuming conspicuous goods. So there may be, or there are two motives according to the Veblen, or this Thorstein Veblen. So what are those? What are those two motives? What are these two motives rather? The first one is rather invidious comparison, and second one is pecuniary emulation. So invidious comparison refers to situation in which a member of a higher class consumes conspicuously conspicuously to distinguish himself from members of a lower class. So just because to distinguish yourself other, or just you want to show off that you are rich and rest are poor, you will consume certain products that you will run after brands that are very expensive in cost. So you will buy only the goods are there, like you will put on clothes. For generalizing thing, let me give you an example for that. So you will put on clothes of that, watches are there, mobile phones you will use, though see, this utility will not be targeted there, but what will you target? The brand, the social status you will target. And then what comes here is this individuous invidious comparison. So this comparison is there, but it is not on the basis of this utility value, but it is on the social value, social statistical value, right? Status value rather. And second one thing is the pecuniary emulation. It does occur when a member of a lower class consumes conspicuously so that he will be thought of as a member of a higher class. So here once again this thing, the how people will think of me when I will go in such clothes. So especially this poor is having this mentality, especially generally, but not all of them. But that is why they want to make show of by wearing the clothes that the rich are wearing, though they are having not money and all the things. So that is why these two things are targeted. And right now it is very much applicable in India also. Okay, and coming down to the another thing, in modern terms, these
You
motives
have
are the essence of.
already taken 25 minutes.
Oh,
So
then let me cut to the chase.
we have a next round then. So try to sum up your things
Then
now.
let me show.
It's very long, very long. Yeah?
Yes, sir. The topics
Normal
are like
time is
this.
12 minutes. Our normals, you have already taken 25
No, sir.
minutes.
The topic. Okay, then I will cut to the chase. Okay, so here are the statistical evidence. I will upload this on slideshow, and then we will get to know how this poverty ratio and unemployment are being raised there. So here is the concluding part. And I just would like to quote here a collection of essays that is called Visual Culture the Reader, published on 6 July 1990. Rightly put, culture comes into play at precisely the point where biological individuals become subjects. The biological individuals, that the people, the mass, become subjects, and that what lies between the two is not some autonomically constituted natural process of socialization, but a much more complex process of formation. Uh, and here are my works cited. Thank you. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, now questions, please.
Can cultural studies change the way that power structure and inequalities are distributed?
So your question is, can cultural studies change the way that power structures and inequalities are distributed? So could you please explain, because I'm not getting the thing there.
Power structure and like inequalities, like class.
So your question is like how it can change that the structure led by power, these power structures, like.
Yes, how cultural studies can make an improvement or an impact, or can it change the way that society is working in a structure where there is inequality
Yes,
and
yes.
other things?
Well, it does, but is along I will tell you again that we have to be in conformity with whatever is structure there, whatever structure is there, right? So on that way we have to criticize that. If we are finding some wrong things, like there is no welfare, people's welfare, there may be people welfare when we tell that it may be of the rich, but no, what about the poor? And if it is happening, then we have to be standing with this poor. Okay, so as a cultural critic, you have to be very critical towards the power. Okay, so being negative here is also positive thing in that manner. So it can change, it can definitely change when the things are being executed by masses. Like the power is changed, power thing or politics are changed. There are many things that it can affect. That way it does. Thank you. Satisfied or okay, then another question.
My question is, why is it important to study literature in the lens of the cultural studies?
Yes, very good question. Is that why is it important to read literature through the lens of cultural studies? Well, traditionalists were used to read literature just the way they were proposed to. Like they just told that this literature falls in this genre, so you have to be in that manner. So first you have to put a prejudice in your mind. Okay, I am reading this novel, so I have to be in that way only. But no, it is not. So this new historicism comes that around that novel, what was the references? What were the references rather? In that way, the new historicism are done, or something more, or still satisfied. Thank you. So any other questions? Thank you. Thank you.